This video is meant to go out to all the people that I love back at Victory Christian School. I got the word, I guess, yesterday that our dear student Simon had passed. And then I saw today Mr. Withers or Tyler's video. And I think it's awesome what you guys are doing, what you teachers back at Victory are doing in order to work through all this, virus stuff and the online presence. And I think that stuff will probably reap fruit, for years to come, and in terms of thinking about new educational possibilities. And so that's awesome that you guys are doing that. When I saw Tyler's video and some of his comments about Simon, I just thought that I might share a few memories that I have of knowing Simon for 1 year of teaching. Obviously, most of you knew him far better and for far longer than I did, but I did have the blessing of experiencing his faith. And just a couple memories stand out to me where early on when I started and we all went to camp, we went to whatever that camp is. I don't even remember the name of it. And we had we couldn't have a bonfire, and so we did like a tiki torch time. And kids came up and did their testimonies like normal. Apparently that's a usual thing for Victory. And Simon got up and he spoke about the fact that when his body's breaking down, Jesus is enough. And when the future is uncertain, Jesus is enough. And my goodness, I mean, even as a pastor, as a 37-year-old Christian, it's easy to find yourself saying, where does a faith like that come from? And then months later, we had our student testimony time at chapel, student-led chapel, and so he got up again and just reiterated. I mean, he just Simon had this drum that he just kept beating, that Jesus is enough, Jesus is enough. And that might not have been the exact words that he used, but that was the message that was clear. That if you had ears to hear what he was saying that all this may happen to my body, but Jesus is enough, because Simon had a perspective that was not this life. It was not about comfort and strength and peace and warm feelings now, because he knew what was waiting for him. Whether he died at 17, 18, or 70 or 80, man, Simon had a perspective toward the future that so few people have. And so as I reflect on where that kind of faith comes from, I want to read to you this passage that this completely made me think of Simon, and Simon made me think of this. This is Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. Therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. Jesus is the founder of our faith. That means that faith that Simon had, that faith that some of you have, that faith is put there by the grace of God. That when our bodies start to break down and when coronavirus spreads all over our country and we don't know what's going to happen, and we don't know how our education, we don't know how our jobs, we don't know how our society is going to survive, well, we can have a faith that looks to a perspective beyond this life, just like Simon. And we can do that because he has put faith into our hearts. And then he's not only the founder of our faith, but the perfecter of it. And as much as it seemed as though Simon's faith was perfect, I witnessed some days where he struggled. And those who knew him better than me certainly witnessed more of those days. But you know what? His faith was being perfected through those days of struggle. And I don't believe that Simon ever lost faith that God had him. He may not have enjoyed the journey, but he knew that God had him. And he has now been seated with Christ in the heavenlies. He has now been set free, where at the end of Revelation it talks about the last tear shall be wiped away, and death shall be no more, neither shall there be pain nor suffering, nor crying anymore, for the former things have passed away. All of Simon's pain and suffering has passed away. And behold, the new has come. Now we're waiting for Jesus to return, or we will join him the way Simon did. But all of us can look forward to the offer that death shall be no more, the offer that tears shall be no more, the offer that pain and sorrow and all of it will be no more. And Simon's already enjoying that. Glory be to God that he poured out faith upon a sinner like Simon, and that he would pour out faith on a sinner like you and me. I'm so thankful for the way Simon was an example to all of us. We could complain. You want to choose to complain in your life, you're always going to have sufficient material to be able to complain about whatever you want. Or you can choose to have hope in the face of sorrow. And I will never forget that Simon taught me that. And so hats off to Simon, because sometimes the student really does become the teacher. I love you, Victory Christian. I hope that you all are growing in the faith of Jesus Christ. I hope that he's bringing peace and confidence to what is uncertain. And I pray his richest blessings on you.